Hi guys, this is Vincent Njao from Vince Fitness team. We have a new show, we call it the Vince Fitness Podcast, and our aim is to educate, inform, and entertain our clients. This podcast is client-centric. Our aim is to empower and help the clients because we believe there is a huge gap between clients, fitness, and trainers. So we want to clarify for you to know what you need and what you don't need. Basically, is breaking down your goals and making it easier for you as you pursue fitness and health. Welcome to the Vince Fitness Podcast. Once again, our guest is Miles Miller, and our topic of discussion today is effective training. Mr. Miller, welcome back to the Vince Fitness Podcast.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to have you back.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. So to start with, we can maybe explain what is effective training, so that at least people can understand from where we are coming from.
So basically, effective training is whereby you're not overdoing it, neither you're underdoing it. Like there are some markers that whenever you're training, you need to use them. Like, am I feeling fatigued after my sessions? Am I feeling extremely sore? Am I feeling tired after my sessions? Or opposite of whatever I've said. So those are some of the metrics we normally use when we are talking about effective training. So also effective training doesn't mean you need to train for several hours in the gym, or rather going to the gym Monday to Monday, doing
or training every day, or just because you're sweating. Guys have a perspective of because you're sweating, you're doing the right thing, or because you're extremely sore, you're doing the right thing, or because you've spent 2 hours in the gym. No. Basically, effective training doesn't mean that. You can work out for 30 or 40 minutes or 20 minutes.
Depends.
And it's effective. So effective. Depends with the approach and the plan. So
that's how I can summarize the whole thing.
Okay. There's a few things we need to discuss that align or put together effective training, and this is what people need to understand. So we can start with maybe sets and reps for someone to maybe build muscle or lose fat in an effective training program. What should they look forward to in reps and sets?
So let's assume, first we have different sort of programs.
Yes.
Because there's somebody who will want to focus on strength. There's another one who will want to focus on just size.
Want to maintain.
The others would like to focus on endurance. So let's assume your goal is to build strength. You said about reps and sets. I always believe when you're doing strength training, first we say train on every other day. So you're decreasing the number of days you're going to the gym or frequency. Number 2 is also don't go for so many other activities other than the major thing that is taking you to the gym. So for instance, you're going to do deadlifts. Your main focus should be deadlift. Any other thing that is related to deadlift should be assisting you in performing your deadlifts with minimum stress and minimum efforts. You understand? So if you're doing deadlift, I always recommend 3 to 4 sets.
When you're doing a deadlift?
In a session. 3 to 4 sets.
Of how many reps?
Repetition, anything less than 5 reps.
Okay.
You shouldn't go between 6 reps. You know why? Because you're trying to maintain your technique. Technique is the thing here. Because when you're doing strength training, strength is a skill. So you first have to have the fundamentals of strength skills. So let's assume you're doing, because first when you're doing strength training, you're focusing on increasing load, not even reps. Your aim is to increase load. So you've started with anywhere between 75 to 95% of your 1 rep mark. and if you go anywhere above that, you'll start straining and you'll start going against your form. You know.
So, in case you don't know what a 1 rep max is, it's your maximum lift of that weight. So what you do for you to know what to lift, you work with percentages. When you're saying 90%, you'll do, for instance, let's say my 1 max rep is 100 kilos. So I'll work with 90 kgs. That's how you work with percentages anytime you're working out.
Yeah.
It's okay, continue.
So you're saying our aim is to increase the load for it to be called strength training. Okay? We are not interested in other things like muscles. Muscle will just be a byproduct of your hard work.
True.
In this so-called training heavy.
Yeah.
And also, because we can use the instance of weightlifters.
Yeah.
People who do clean and jerk or snatch.
Yeah.
See, they don't look big. Somebody might be even 75 kilos, but he's pulling
twice as much. Yeah.
Thrice even, not even
thrice
twice.
His body weight.
Thrice his body weight. So, but if you look at him, it doesn't look that big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he has perfected the technique and he has the skills for this course. So that's why I was saying you shouldn't aim for more than 5 reps, because if you dare go above that, you start compromising on your form. So always reserve some reps in the tank, even though you feel like you have
you want to go more.
Yeah, even though you feel like you can go more than that, reserve that, because every week you're increasing
the weight.
Another thing, there's something known as fatigue. So there's muscular fatigue and systemic fatigue. So if you always bail out anytime you're doing strength, so your aim is to do 1 rep heavy 1 rep, because that is what strength is. At the end of those cycles, you'll find out that you have accumulated a lot of fatigue. So if you accumulate a lot of fatigue, you're prone to injuries. So you're trying to minimize any sort of systemic fatigue, because systemic fatigue is related to central nervous system. So we are trying to minimize that, and we are trying to increase muscle fatigue, so that you can put a good stress in your muscles, hence you'll get results based on what you want. So aim is to increase load, aim is to decrease systemic fatigue, and aim is to maintain technique anytime you're doing strength. So anytime you're doing deadlift or you're doing these compound lifts, and then you start compromising on your form, it is because fatigue is starting to kick in. So when fatigue starts to kick in, you can find out maybe you lose your core strength, you might lose your grip strength,
you start losing focus,
or even you might black out.
So it's good to work with sustainable reps.
Yeah, and also it's good to have a program. Anytime you're aiming for strength, you must have a program so that you can tell when you'll do a deload, when you'll take a break.
What's a deload?
A deload is anytime you are, anytime you're lifting anything less than your working set. I don't know if I'm digging so deep. Okay.
So let's
deload
say, for
is
instance,
when you are reducing weight from the bar. So you get. So maybe your max is 200 kg. So you can do 20% deload, 30% deload, 50% deload. But I always recommend, if you are increasing progressively every week, maybe 5%, and your program is running for say 12 weeks, after a period of say 5 weeks, you can do 50% of deload.
So that's 50% for 1 week.
50% of your max.
That's what I'm saying. How long will it last?
No, for only 1 week.
For only 1 week.
Not even
so
week,
that's
say 3 days.
3 days. Okay.
The way it depends on how you have prepared.
So after heavy training for 5 weeks,
you do
a deload week.
50%.
A deload week, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that you reduce the load and intensity.
Even intensity you have to. So let's say for instance, at week 5 you are doing 5 reps. So you can do anywhere between 3 reps, 2 reps, even 1. So
you reduce
load
completely, intensity.
Intensity.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically,
so that you can just recover your CNS and also your muscles, and you're trying to reduce what? Systemic fatigue.
Okay. How long should a workout last? An effective workout? Effective training.
I've only focused on strength. We also have hypertrophy.
Yeah, we have hypertrophy and.
So in relation
endurance.
to strength, I can say anywhere between 90 to 90 minutes or 2 hours.
Or 2 hours.
Yeah, you know why? Because when you're doing strength, you tend to take a longer rest periods after sets. You get? So, because you need to recover so that you can push harder than your previous set.
True.
So, I can say anywhere above 2 hours, it will again be detrimental to your system because what are you looking for?
So,
before you ask the question, let's assume you're on your final weeks of your strength phase. Focus on your deadlift and 2 accessories because you are so tired. Remember,
so
you've been
accessories
lifting.
You mean?
Accessories, I mean.
So you're doing deadlift, eh?
Yeah, doing deadlift.
The accessories of deadlift, let's say it's maybe 1 arm row, lat pull down.
Yeah. Okay. When you're doing deadlift, you've done a heaviest deadlift. There's no need of doing bent over rows.
No, that's an example. What are accessories now you need to do? Or what are accessories?
Yeah. Don't do bent over row. For as much as it might be an accessory, because it will put a lot of pressure on your spine.
Yeah, that one I agree.
Yeah.
I'm asking,
when you're doing
deadlift, what is the accessory? So for instance, guys are understanding we're doing deadlift. Then you mentioned accessory. What is accessory?
Okay,
accessory work.
It's an exercise that will help you to improve on your major lifts.
Or support
the
major lift. Yeah.
So it could be rows, it could be pulls, any row.
Yeah.
It could be even core. And anything that will support your foundation. It's an accessory.
But it's not it's basically they're supporting the major muscle.
The major muscle that you're focusing on. You're doing deadlift, you're focusing on your posterior. Your back all the way to your calves.
Yeah.
Sindio? So if you're doing deadlift, your accessory will be something like hamstrings.
Yes.
It's an accessory. Lat pull down, it's an accessory. Seated row, anything that looks like that. So as long as it's related to posterior chain, it will support your major lift, your main lift. So I was saying, don't do bent over row because it will put a lot of pressure on your spine.
After deadlifts.
Yeah. Do something like chest supported row. Do something like seated row, lat pull down, something that will minimize pressure on your spine. You get it? So when you're on your final weeks, don't do a lot of accessory work because you need rest. For as much as you're focusing on strength, you also need to accessorize your muscles so that you can prevent injuries and so that you can perform your lifts with good technique and you can maintain everything.
Okay.
So don't do 5, 6, 7, 8 exercises. Just do 2 or 3, then you go home. Because the moment you do that, remember,
I agree. Yeah.
Remember another thing, when you're doing strength, every week you're increasing. So it means anything below your working set, it's a warm up. I don't know if you understand.
So let's explain to our audience what's a working set.
So working set, let's start with the warm up. We have warm up, we have working sets, we have top sets, we have back off sets, and you have
accessory,
and you have others like superset, triset, and pyramid sets. So let's start with the major ones. We know warm up set and working set. So warm up set, it is any set that is below your working set. Any set that it's
in
meant
preparation
to prepare you for whatever thing you're about to do. It also helps you to that is the moment you focus on your form, speed, which is power, and also focus on just performance. Focus on making every rep look similar to your warm-up sets.
Okay.
You get it? So it is very different. If you're doing strength, how you warm up for strength, it is different from how you warm up for size.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand.
I understand.
If you're warming up for strength, anything less than or below
what you're supposed to work with.
Yes.
The percentage you're supposed to work with.
Exactly.
Okay, so in case you're supposed to work with 90 kilos, anything below 90
kilos or 90%.
90%. You're supposed to work with 90%. So anything below 90%,
it's a warm up.
It's a warm up.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you are doing strength, we're starting with, let's say, 60%, for instance.
Okay.
60%, if you do plus 5 on every week for 4 weeks.
This is a 5% increase.
Yes, 5%
every week.
increase
Okay.
every week for 4 weeks. So you land to 60, 65, 70, 75. Anything less than 75 will be more of hypertrophy.
Okay.
You'll be focusing on building muscles.
What's hypertrophy?
Hypertrophy is building muscle size.
Okay.
So you're starting with 65 because you must have a program. So I'm assuming your program will start at 65 or 60%. You're increasing 5% every week. You will find out you're even doing high reps. You'll start maybe with 12 reps. So doing strength training doesn't mean we normally neglect 12 reps, 8 reps, the way we normally do for hypertrophy.
Depends with the program, eh?
It depends with the program. But this repetition I've mentioned will help you to focus on your last cycles of your program.
Okay.
Because maybe your program it does have like 3 cycles. So it has hypertrophy, endurance, hypertrophy, and now strength. So these 2 phases, hypertrophy and endurance, will prepare you for your main phase, which is the strength phase. You get? So every week, your initial working set will be your working set every week. So if your working set was 80%, anything below 80% is warm up.
So we've talked about warm up, then working set.
Yeah.
Then
now top set.
Top set.
It's part of working set.
Okay.
Top set is your heaviest set. So your heaviest set could be, let's say you're doing 3 sets of working set, 3 working sets.
Yeah.
Of maybe 3 reps.
3 reps.
Maybe your last set will be your heaviest. That will be your top set.
Okay.
It is still part of the working set.
Or it can be your heaviest set, but you're doing 1 set, but it's your top set.
Yes,
that's the top set.
Your last set,
because you'll do heavier than the other sets.
Than the others, or you'll feel like that last set was like blood, sweat, and tears.
So this is basically strength.
Yeah, that is strength
training program.
Yeah.
So after a top set, we go to?
After a top set, we have back off set. Back off set now is where you do a deload. You have done your major work. You decided to reduce some weights from the bar. It changes to back off because you have reduced some. Maybe you can reduce 20%, 15%, even 50%. When you reduce, you either increase the reps. You can now play around with this progressive overload. You can reduce tempo. You can increase reps. You can increase speed. You can increase something like that.
Okay, that's a back off set.
That's a back off set. So you have done doing your 3 reps. You have reduced maybe from 80% to 60% or 65 or 70. Anything less than that.
Okay.
You go all out. You can decide to do 15 reps. You know why we normally do that? Because there's one thing guys need to know. When you focus so much on strength, what will happen? You might lose endurance because you're used to 5 reps.
Yeah.
So by the time if I give you 200 kgs, which is your 100%, you do it easily. But if I give you 140, I tell you go for 15, you start panting at your 6th rep. So we are trying to prevent that by doing back off.
Oh, the back
off. You aim for endurance, for muscle endurance.
You back off, you do lighter.
You do a lighter.
You do more reps.
Okay.
Yes. After back off set?
After back off set now, those are the major
those are the major sets.
For strength.
For strength training.
But it doesn't mean you cannot apply that in hypertrophy.
Okay.
You can still apply.
For hypertrophy, what would we have? Those are major sets for strength training. Now let's go to hypertrophy.
For strength, that's another thing before I forget. When you're doing strength, you're only focusing on the percentage you are at. You're not increasing progressively. When today you're doing deadlift, you're at 80%. You're only doing 80%.
You're working with 80% for that.
For that. You're not, don't be like, you're not doing, today I feel like I can go more than 80%.
You're not doing 80% 10 reps, then 90% 8 reps. No.
That is now how hypertrophy behaves.
Okay.
And we're about to go to hypertrophy now. I don't know if I've missed anything.
No, I think you're okay. You've talked about the major sets, working set, the major sets for strength training. Let's talk about the major sets for hypertrophy.
Hypertrophy, for those who don't understand, it's simply building muscles. Okay? And it's quite different. Building strength and building muscles, they're two different. It's kind of different. You can build size or muscle when you're doing strength training a courtesy of accessories, because we have seen accessories is something that assists you in your major lifts. If you're going now to hypertrophy, warm up, you can warm up while you progressively increase the load. Get what I mean?
You start low.
You start low
with an empty bar.
With an empty bar, that is a mandate. If you're doing any sort of barbell lift, must always start with an empty bar. Me always say it's like you're trying to respect the fundamentals, the foundation, and
also if you want to enjoy the workout,
you must respect.
You have to master the basics.
You must respect the bar. For as much as you can go 3,000 kilos, always start with an empty bar. Why are we starting with an empty bar?
To master the setup.
To master the setup and to enjoy the moment. Trying to feel the moment, trying to enjoy the present moment. Which of the session you're about to handle. You start increasing the weight progressively. Maybe you're doing 3 warm-up sets. You're not treating them casually. You're focusing on every rep that you are doing.
You're lifting,
and you in hypertrophy where I saw you can go all out. Going to failure. But on your warm-up, you're just mastering the movement. And then, let's assume you get to 60%. Because for hypertrophy, it is anywhere between 60 to 70%. Or let's say 50 to 70%. This one, if you work within this range, you can achieve hypertrophy. Get what I mean? So, you have started with what? Empty bar. Increase, you got to 50.
You go to empty bar, maybe 10, then you add 20.
Yes.
Then you go to 40.
Depending.
30,
you see, people are different. People are different, bro. Because you are 60 kilos, might be your warm-up set, or it is your warm-up set. It could be someone else's working set. You get? So, basically what you're saying to say you increase progressively. And then as you begin your working set, you start to go all out to failure.
The percentage of increase depends with your level of fitness. Okay.
So in hypertrophy is where we say you either go to failure or close to failure. And I'll say this. Don't be going to failure every day.
Or
it's not every set or every exercise you're doing, all to failure because of what I said earlier. Fatigue.
Fatigue.
You're trying to minimize that by all means. So you're doing your first 3 sets. Make sure you're doing the first two, you have 3 sets of working sets. Go close to failure. And when we say close to failure, we mean anywhere between 8 to 12. You can go all the way to 30, but again, there are many ways to skin a cat, So there's no way you go out all the way to 30 reps, yet anywhere between 8 to 12
will get you
they still give you whatever you're looking for.
Okay.
So go close to failure. Close to failure means on your last 2-3 reps, you must be straining. Or close to failure also means if I dare ask you to do another rep, you'll be like, I'll either bail out or I'll call for help. So it means consciously you feel like I have like 2 reps in the tank, but I don't want to go all out because I'm reserving some strength for the next set.
Okay.
You understand? So you do this, you go close to failure for the first 2 sets, and then on your last set, you can go all out. So that is your
this is the
first exercise.
This is the working set.
This is the working set.
So we've already done the warm-up. This is a working set.
This is the working set.
Okay. How many sets do we have in hypertrophy?
I always say 3 sets max, 3 to 4.
Then you maximize on them.
Maximize on them the way I've explained.
Actually, there's something you've said. Choosing 3 workouts, then you do them perfectly.
For strength. I was coming to speak about hypertrophy. But there's many things that may factor in. Things like, are you natural or not? Or are you enhancing something? Because if you enhance with something again, this conversation is not for you because you can spend hours in the gym and still get results because your recovery is up there. But for this other guy who is natural, this is a general talk. You cannot compete with the other guy because of that recovery. recovery play a major role when it comes to strength and hypertrophy. So that's why I'm saying don't go all out.
True.
Because you're trying to reserve some energy for the next, for not only the next set, but also another exercise. Because you're not only focusing on.
And also, you'll want to come back to the gym tomorrow.
Yes, you also want to come back to the gym. Yeah. So you do that. We can also apply the principle of back off sets. You're done doing your 3 sets. You can reduce some, focus on endurance.
Okay.
You can say, let me take away 10% off, 30% off, and I do like 15 reps all out for even 1 set.
Okay.
In the name of endurance. Muscle endurance is very important. Remember I told you people tend to focus so much on strength and to forget about the endurance.
The endurance part,
Yeah, so that's how we play around with that. And then from there, now you can exercise with other things. I always say when you're doing barbell, compound lifts, I mean anything you're using a barbell, always reserve reps in the tank because of the fatigue I was talking about. But now, if you are accessorizing with the machines and dumbbells, you can go all out because it does not cause a lot of damage compared to the barbell.
This show was recorded and produced at Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya.